It's KD the One. I'm here with another video. Y'all already know what's going on. I'm here with another Omeezy video. I ain't even gonna lie, I'm a little lost. I'm gonna play it back for y'all because a lot of shit was going on, but she got 500K for calling an autistic 5-year-old a slur. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I was gonna say put down in the comments if y'all think like what slur y'all think it was, but then I just realized like mad comments of Nick, like crazy words, and I'm gonna be like, oh, why is this happening? Like I would just say, let's get into the video. I don't want to like yap too much. Let's figure out what's going on together.
Did you call him the child? Did you call the child the word?
Wait,
It
what?
is my own business. You call him a... Okay, what?
This bitch. Wait, this bitch sticked out her tongue. Did
It
the
is my own business. You call him a... Okay, why don't you have the balls to say it right now again? Okay. All right, that's what you say. Nobody dig into your That little kid, you call him a... The little child? Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child, 5-year-old, an N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act
That's
like.
what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
You know, that's a hate speech. And you can be recorded for that.
I don't give a
Okay, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say about you.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the internet has to say. I'm sure they'll be calling for her name. Another Karen calling a black person something crazy at the park. That's a child. They have to be getting her up out of here, like, right? That's the only thing that makes sense, right? Is that $1 million goal with half of it raised for her being racist? Oh my God. Now, I thought during the pandemic times, the country peaked when it came to racial divides. But coming into 2025 with divisive situations like the Carmelo Anthony situation,
when it comes to all those situations, I could honestly give you my 4 point. Those are crazy situations. I honestly believe race has nothing to do with none of those situations, but those are crazy situations. And I honestly believe if it wasn't for most of those families trying to gain sympathy from other people off the internet, other than like going in their own motives to like mourn the loss of their like people, I could honestly say we'll probably be in a better society. You have this bit saying, help me protect my family. She needs repercussions for her actions. Do you not know the severity of what she could have did if that 5-year-old remembers? I remember shit when I was 5. Of course, it's probably not something that he would remember because does such a small interaction. But think of the severe damage she could have had if that man wasn't there. She was trying to hit the kid. She was chasing him. She needs severe like consequences, and y'all have half of the niggas on some shit. Well, protect her.
the election of Donald Trump and other things like that. There couldn't be much more that could happen that could divide this country any further. At least I would think. But apparently when this racist white woman named Shiloh Hendricks went to the park and called a disabled child the hard R-N word, she was able to raise $500,000 in asking for $1 million for literally being racist. I think this country has lost its mind.
Okay, why don't you have the balls to say it right now again? Okay.
The one thing that also confused me, the kid was autistic. Her excuse is he took something of my child's. So you talk to the kid, you're a mother, talk to the damn kid. And if he doesn't want to talk to his mother. You don't have to sit here and deal with that shit like that. Or you could sit there and like get your kid to take it back. There's so many situations you could have did that shit better. Like, and y'all trying to protect her?
All right, that's what you say. That little kid, you call him a... The little child?
What if he acts like one? He's gonna.
Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
Her claims are that this 5-year-old child was digging into her things, stealing whatever sort of snacks she had packed for her child. Now, maybe if something physically was happening to her child, then I could understand it, but this is a part.
Over snacks. Bro, as a kid, you don't know how many times I was like offered shit like candy and snacks just like going up to people because we was living in like up north where like a higher gated community, not a higher gated community, the hood, and because everybody knew each other, it was on some shit like it wasn't like weird. Even if we didn't know each other, I go to the park. I have probably a mother saying, there, "Hey, are you okay? You want a juice? You want some?" Like the low sympathy that people have in this shit. Again, I'm sorry for the yapping, but the low sympathy people have is like wild. 5 minutes in,
filled with like kids, like
and
true
I
kids.
didn't even get
Him
past the
taking
first minute of
something
the video.
while it being wrong
If y'all love the
doesn't
yap, let me
then
know.
mean that you retaliate with a bunch of racial epithets. And then, as you heard in that same clip, she said that she was willing to chase him and hit him because if he was acting like a hard R, he was going to get treated like a hard R. I also think it's crazy because there's a lot of non-blacks seemingly in this situation saying
Y'all
the
want to
N-word. But,
protect her?
hey. I think what really puts the icing on the cake, and she may or may have not known this, but I don't know, as a parent or as just a person living in society, I think she should be able to tell this. But the 5-year-old in question who was stealing, the go-go squeeze or whatever the hell out of this person's, diaper bag. I'm not gonna lie, go-go squeezes are kind of good. But the 5-year-old in question was autistic. So not only was he a 5-year-old child, he was an autistic 5-year-old child, looking for snacks. I'm pretty sure that little boy has no clue what's going on. He might not even know what the N-word with the hard R means. He's just running around at the park. And it's very sad to see that his first sign of racism is at such a young age. Even though that's very common, I think this is a very
True.
aggressive version of it. And that's crazy. Now, normally in these situations, people would be looking to get this woman the hell up out of here. They would be looking to get a Karen like this fired from her job.
I'm not gonna lie. It's crazy because 5 years ago, we would have been on some shit like this bit need to be canceled. I understand cancel culture is gone to some degree, and I don't really care either way. But when we had people like the main reason why I was fucking with it, we had certain people who was on the street that shouldn't have been on the street, like her. Like I'm not saying that she should be locked up. I'm not saying she should be fucking like she's probably a bad mother or whatever. But like when it comes to this isn't the type of life you should be living for your kids, especially e-begging to provide for them.
People would objectively be able to see that this is wrong. But not this woman, Shiloh Hendricks. She decided to put out a Give, Send, Go, which is the platform that Carmelo Anthony's family has been using in order to collect their donations. I think that that's a funny coincidence right there. In order to galvanize a community because she feels threatened. She says, "Hello, my name is Shiloh, and I have been put in a very dire situation. I recently had a kid steal from my 18-month-old son's diaper bag at a park. I called the kid out for what he was, a hard R N-word. Another man who we recently found out."
Wait. I want to read this personally because I called the kid out for what he was. Didn't explain it. Didn't explain the age or what was going on. He posted these videos online, which has my family and myself in great turmoil. My SSN has been leaked, my address, my phone number. These are the stuff that would happen if you put yourself in these situations. When you put yourself on the internet, or not even the internet, the guy was recording. When you sit here and say certain shit and you act like you don't give a fuck with sympathy, this is the shit that's going to happen. I'm not going to say that's a good thing. Your SS got leaked, like that's crazy. Your address, all that, that's crazy. But when it comes to your family, they're most likely not going to be attacked. Most likely nothing's going to happen to them. But you see what predicament you put for your kids because you're the mother of, I mean, they're the fucking child of the racist mother.
had a history with
This
law
is what you
enforcement
did to
proceeded
your
to
kid.
record me and follow me to my car. He then posted these videos online, which has caused my family and myself great turmoil. My SSN has been leaked. My address and phone number have been given out freely. My family members are being attacked, verbally, not physically. My eldest child may not be going back to school, even where I exercise has been exposed. I'm asking for your help to assist in protecting my family. I fear that we must relocate. I have 2 small children who do not deserve this. We have been threatened to the extreme by people online. Anything that doesn't mechanism is.
Honestly, I would say they probably do not deserve this. These kids do not deserve this. But for you to be e-begging because you put them in this situation because you wanted to call another kid, a 5-year-old autistic kid, the hard ER, and you wanted to hit him and you didn't want to explain that, that's something that I don't see on there. Hell, I wish we could sign petitions on this to cancel someone's shit, like, cause some people don't be needing to get money sent. I could put a story out
Already, and it's
there in
only
that
been a
case.
few days. It's so funny how blatant this racism is. I mean, the woman in question, Shiloh Hendricks, has a clear history of being not the model person to be giving donations to. The internet quickly pulled up a shit ton of her criminal records. She has like 3 or 4 cases where she's been disorderly in public, just like this situation here. But that doesn't matter because, she's white.
Shiloh Hendricks called a 5-year-old black boy who has autism the N-word. And then when confronted, the person filming her, she called him the N-word at least 5 times. And that is terrible. That is disgusting behavior. But what's even worse, and it shouldn't be shocking, but it is that she raised over $100,000. But that's not what it is currently. Her original goal was for $150,000. They surpassed that goal and they went to $300,000. She currently has $311,000 and she is working towards $1 million. All because she called a 5-year-old black boy the N-word.
Now, what I find so funny in this situation is that people are just being straight blatant with their racism. Some of the top donations say things like white lives matter, or, hey, we're sick and tired of this, or from a tired and understanding American. Although there are people in so many different rural areas, different counties, different states in the United States that really could be using these donated dollars, that really could be putting this money to good use and good work, not people who have been in situations where they said something that was a racial epithet to a child and now they need protection from people, etc., etc. There are true white people that need help if all white lives matter, or whatever the case may be. But no, they're using this as a moment to essentially get off a lot of different, disgusting, nasty rhetoric. People like Elijah Schaefer, some random YouTube commentator who we can confidently say is now racist, sent out a donation to say, "Sending my personal support. We are all fatigued and know that rather than changing their behavior, minorities insist on trying to police our words. I expected nothing less than animal behavior for the dregs of society and understand the protective nature you have for your baby. Stay safe. Email me if you need help getting out your side of the story. You'll get through this." We can't forget that this is about a go-go squeeze and an autistic 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. Mind you, the 2-year-old baby, whatever it was, wasn't even in danger as explained by the mom, which I know the story will probably change when we get to the real story. But yeah, the 5-year-old autistic child was stealing the go-go squeeze from her diaper bag. Real safety concern. I've seen people make bad faith comparisons between this situation and the Austin Metcalf, Carmelo Anthony situation, seemingly saying that you can't pick and choose between, giving one child bail money for a case that potentially has self-defense implications where, there's so much more narrative to the story, as opposed to this person who was openly and admittedly racist towards a 5-year-old black child. What are we doing? What are we doing? And now we're even getting
I was
to the
trying to
point where
read
I'm
that,
seeing
but
people
like,
defend Shiloh Hendricks because the man in question, Mr. Omar, the person who was recording in question, had former essay allegations towards a minor on his jacket. He had a charge and a case for all those things like that. And so they're bringing that up. All that is to distract and try to justify the act.
all right, that still doesn't justify the act that she should be, like, at least publicly announced for being racist. I'm not saying that everybody should throw stones at this lady, everybody should hunt her down, hurt her. No, that's not what I'm saying. But it's good to know that there's people out here that have these type of mindset. And if they do, I would like to keep my kids away from them. I would like to be able to warn others. And if you're saying here on some shit like trying to justify it, saying all lives matter, all that, I really just don't give a fuck enough for this. It's just like the implication would be the same if the kid had any skin color. If he was white, stealing from her purse, and she would have still sat here and been like, "Oh, you," and like say any slur, like I feel like it probably wouldn't have left the same effect on everybody else, but I feel like it still would have been a serious implication. I feel like then she would have probably got pressed 10 times harder.
actions
I don't
of
know.
Shiloh Hendricks in some sort of an attempt to defend her and what she did. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and kill a lot of people's dreams here, but the charges were dropped against the cameraman. But none of that ultimately matters. That doesn't matter if a pred recorded. That doesn't matter if somebody who punches, I don't know, walls for a living record. It doesn't matter who recorded. This woman said what she said. That doesn't mean that we need to turn around and redirect the conversation. And now you look stupid, just like in the Carmelo Anthony situation and a lot of other situations, when you try to bring up this evidence as some sort of distraction or this proof that tries to disprove whatever narrative you're trying to paint. Like the person, Mr. Omar Sharmak Omar, saying that, hey, he did these things with a child, even though they were dismissed, and Carmelo Anthony doesn't have a father and he's not a good student, and his father came out and he ended up being a good student. You look stupid when you push those narratives because they're trying to distract and then they get debunked, and now you're scrambling again for other things to help justify your racism. Just be racist. Now, on this channel, we've given praise to Give Send Go as a platform who has allowed Carmelo Anthony and his family to raise defense money. We know that GoFundMe has strict laws that prohibit, people from raising money that are in active and ongoing investigations that are involved in like criminal proceedings. So Give Send Go was a platform and an outlet for him to raise some sort of bail money in order to get out of that situation. But this one we don't agree with. So naturally we had to look and see why Give Send Go would allow stuff like this to happen. And they've been tweeting and retweeting some pretty interesting conversations that people have been giving towards them directly or just having about them, about how they're a free speech platform, this is an equal opportunist platform, and a bunch of religious things. Your site really doesn't get enough credit for being a true free speech platform, even though this isn't a manner of free speech. Or this very, very odd one that says murder is a sin, raising money for a murderer is a sin, using racial slurs is a sin, doxing people is a sin. All of it is sin, and sin is our problem, not skin color. When we focus on the solution to the sin, we'll stop being so divided. Until then, we're cooked. I don't know, that this is a little different of a situation, brother. But what I found the most interesting is that the co-founder, Jacob Wells, finally got sick of all the commentary because it was so disgusting between both of these. And it's very important that we realize that the Carmelo Anthony situation is happening simultaneously, because a lot of people are using that as some sort of justification to prop up this racist woman. But so Jacob Wells put out this statement on what's going on with the two fundraisers. At Give Send Go, we recently disabled comments on the fundraising campaigns for Carmelo Anthony and Shiloh Hendricks due to the unacceptable volume of racist and derogatory remarks. At this time, comments were turned off. Both campaigns had raised approximately $500,000 with around 15,000 donors each. Crazy parallels. We remain committed to ensuring all funds raised are delivered to the campaign recipients as intended. However, we unequivocally condemned the hateful comments that sought to fuel division and harmful narratives. These remarks do not reflect Give Send Go's values of hope, compassion, and fairness. Our platform exists to support individuals and families in need, and we uphold the principle that everyone deserves a fair process, not judgment by mob outrage. We took action to stop the spread of divisive rhetoric while ensuring the campaigns continue to serve their intended purpose. We call for respectful dialogue and understanding, even in challenging situations. Thank you for supporting our mission to share hope and help. Bravo. Way to sit on the fence there. I don't think I need to say this, but the biggest difference between the Carmelo Anthony situation and this situation with Shiloh Hendricks is footage. Plain and simple. Footage and a clear admittance as to what went on. That, and you add the actual racial element to it, like the acknowledged and admitted racial element, make these two total different situations. Jacob, you didn't have to do this. This was a bad move. I'm literally seeing people on the internet prop this woman up as if she's some sort of hero or martyr for calling a 5-year-old autistic child the hard R N-word. We've seen situations before where racist martyrs have stepped up and become sort of political figures because they said something outrageous to somebody of a different community. I remember that woman from a couple months ago who said the N-word while wearing an apron or whatever, and she ended up being with like Sneeko and Nick Fuentes and a lot of the right-wing political commentary people.
Everybody I know who's married right now, married to broke-ass niggas. And they don't care. We don't give a fuck about your money.
Hey, that was me at the top. But people like her or Myron or a lot of these people who are literally racist for clicks realize fast is that, hey, these people actually don't care about me. These people don't even want me in their communities, in their circles. They just want to use me in order to get their racist talking points out. What Shiloh Hendricks has to realize is that a lot of those people were anonymous donators. Hear me out when I say this. See, you're not gonna get real life support from these people. Sure, you'll get support from the Elijah Schafers of the world, but he's already already been casted as somebody who's on the fringes of society and is an internet personality and is just openly racist. So he can live his life like that, but the types of connections that he has that you will be able to tap into later on as you have to live with the consequences of your actions won't be the ones that you want. You have to continue to double down and triple down and be progressively more racist. Oxymoronic just a little bit. But you have to up it on the scale of what is and isn't okay with you. You'll have to double and triple down. You might have said those things about that young black boy, but might not have those feelings about black men, as people have shown in pictures. What I'm ultimately saying is you're tying yourself to a community that doesn't really support you. And hey, I know that sounds crazy after getting 500,000.
Alright, all I see from this, and I'm about to put my input before I head out, is this is a fuck situation that people are trying to compare to a more fuck situation. Like I could say, if you really think y'all could compare it to the Camelo situation, all that shit, if y'all really think I could compare this to that, it's crazy. But the same amount of support that y'all hear from this, like I think both of those families have set out these profit things to fucking get money, right? But like when it came to it, I see on the white side they'll sit here and say white lives matter, all that shit, and same thing for the black side. You hear black lives matter. Why are everybody divided like that? Again, if it wasn't someone with race and it was just another like dead, like two dead kids fighting against another white kid, would y'all not sit here and still like see this shit with a higher degree of like empathy? Like I'm seeing this shit like these are families that are broken. Even this, like this woman just put her family in a bad situation. And I see like people are just sitting here like, oh yeah, we fuck with it, yeah, fuck those niggas, yeah, yeah. Like it's not that serious. And same for the last white girl. I feel like she hung around too many black people in her life, and the problem is hanging around black people. You get some of the cadences and mannerisms, even if you don't want to. It's something that just happens. So like she probably just thought she was being different or she was doing something that'll give her shock value or like whatever. Y'all don't feed into that shit. If that's your type of content, this isn't probably your type of content. Probably do fuck with my titles though, because I do have wild titles. But if y'all want to see more videos like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm not gonna hold you. If y'all supporting these situations, I don't know. Let me know in the comments how y'all feel, because I need to hear other people's point of view on this. Because like me personally, I feel indifferent. But if y'all want to see some more Omeezy videos, I'll leave them down in the description. And get nothing else to say. See y'all, boys. Peace.